four things to consider before investing in real estate as a first timer. Now, some people think that as soon as they have money or have enough capital, as some would call it, that they could just pump it into a property and it will just start generating money. And there's this general saying in our part of the world that you would never lose money when it comes to property. Sometimes you lose a lot of money if you don't make the right decisions. And so I'll be speaking to you about some of the things to consider. Four things maybe that you would have to consider before making that buying decision. One of them is location. Location is very, very, very important. There are locations you buy a property at a very low amount, and in the next 30 years or 20 years the property is here to appreciate. And with the whole inflation in the country and all that, you find out that even when you decide to sell it after a long time, you would still not have been able to recover the value of the money you used in purchasing it. So it is very important for you to put location as one of the most important criteria in choosing a property you want to invest in or invest on. So that's number one. Location is very important. And also, because a location is premium, doesn't mean that the properties you buy from that location has good appreciation value. So that's why, of course, you need to speak to experts before you make such a buying decision. Then, number two, you have to consider the type of property you're buying, the property itself. Now, when we talk about the property itself, there's a lot of things to consider when we're talking about the property, including, which is extremely important, the structural integrity of that building. You might see a building that is very beautiful, fine, well finished, but the structural integrity of that building has been compromised during construction or during construction most of the time. So if you didn't have experts take a look at it, you could just buy it because it's beautiful, but then 10 years down the line the building could collapse, or you keep having issues with certain things. Most times plumbing, then the electrical and all that. That's number two. Then number three, you would have to also factor the sort of thing you want to use that property to do, like property usage. What do you want to use this property for? What kind of investment do you want to do with this property? Now, the property is already an investment. Now, when you buy it, do you have plan of buying and reselling, or you have plan of buying, hold it for a while, then maybe sell, or you have a plan of buying and renting it out, and or you have a plan of buying, converting it to a short let apartment, or you have a plan of buying the property and using renting it out to companies, for commercial purposes. So these are some of the things you'd have to put into consideration before you make the buying decision of the property. Because if you decide to buy a property that can be used for commercial purposes in a residential environment, it might tie down your money long time. You might not be able to recoup your investment. And then if you also buy a property in a location where it can only be used for commercial purpose, it depends. All of these things just varies. You'd have to know what you want to really do with the property before making a buying decision, before purchasing the property. Then lastly, as a round off, another thing to put into consideration before making a buying decision is the property title. Don't just buy a property because someone told you it has C of O. Have your lawyers do their verifications, do their confirmations, do all the necessary paperwork Be sure that the documents are original. Visit lands, the Ministry of Lands and Environment, to be sure that the property you are buying is original. Or if the owner of the property is late, be sure that the person selling the property to you has the legal right to enter that transaction with you. The person could be the son or the daughter or wife or relative of the owner of the deceased person, of the deceased owner, of the previous owner. But it still doesn't give them the legal right to sell that property. These are the verifications you need to do before making a buying decision. Thank you very much for your time. My name is Esther Raphael.